Hello, this is Yanis from Any Repair. Today we will go and see how we can deal with the damages like MOSFET burning in graphics cards. It's okay, it is an easy case to deal with a broken MOSFET in the VRM of the GPU. But when the MOSFET is burned and welded on the pads and you must cut it, how are you dealing with it? Let's go and see how are we dealing with it. That is the PCB. We have already removed the broken MOSFET, the welded MOSFET, as you can see. There is a part, a piece of the 12 volts, the vein of the MOSFET, of the driver, on the board. This fragment of the driver is well welded on the PCB and must be removed in order to resolder the next driver, the new one. But the case is that it is welded, and usually we are lifting the whole pad while we're attempting to restore this pad. So we will use our polisher in order to remove the piece of the driver. Likewise, we are scrubbing until it is well flat on the board, but usually this whole procedure removes the pad. We want to remove the pad with the minimum damage on the PCB. So we're using our polisher to remove the pad. We could do it with our razor, much easier doing so, but we are hoping that something will remain on the pad in order to use it and restore the pad for the PCB to be intact. We're going super fast. It is not a very pleasant and it is very time-consuming job scrubbing a pad with a nail polisher or whatever. It is we must be very gentle not to scratch any layers we are not going to work on, because if we scrubbing and reach to a ground pad and unmask it, when we will going to weld the pad, the ground with the vein will be sorted inside the PCB, so there will be no hope for this board. So we're scratching and scrubbing very carefully, and we're trying to make the pad very flat as possible. We're going to use any pad left after the scrubbing, and we're going to restore this pad, because it is necessary not only for the 12 volt vein, but it is necessary for thermal consumption as the ground too. So we're scrubbing and scrubbing. You can see it is very time consuming. It needs a lot of patience and a good tool to scrub with, because if you are scrubbing with a razor or with something else, you may scratch the whole board, and this would be unpleasant. We don't want such a thing. We are trying to be very, very careful. You can see that I am trying to see if the metal around the area is ground or something else. No short is detected, and we are going to continue scrubbing until it is flat, flat enough to work with. We are cleaning a bit to check and see what are we dealing with. We will do something wrong with this pad restoration. I will show you what I mean, but afterwards we will understand it and make the right thing. We're trying to take advantage of the remaining pad. We will now take a piece of copper that is cutted by razor in the size we want to use from another board, from a donor board, or from a jumper container. We will do it such. We will going to solder this piece of copper over the top of the remaining tracks and pad. We're going very quickly. We are adding flux in order to thin the traces and the remaining pad. I will remove the copper for later use. And now I will thin the fingers and the pad with fresh solder in order to make it better and more friendly for the temperature to reach and melt the solder beneath the piece of copper we will add. We are spreading the solder over the copper, and now it is the time to flux the piece of copper. We are adding solder on it, and we are going to put it over the remaining tracks and the remaining pad on the welded, the X welded vein of the burnt driver. Now we were grabbing the piece of copper and we will try to solder it. We will do it with any mean we can accomplish the most flat solder we can accomplish. The soldering must be very careful in order not to short any neighbor pads. We are using hot air and our tweezer in order to align the copper pad on its place. We're pressing gently the copper to attach properly the remaining tracks and the remaining pad. And after that, I will explain what I did wrong after I have soldered the pad properly. Let me do it and I will explain you what I did wrong. And I paid for it. I paid for it because I burned the MOSFET again, and I did this work twice, but the second time was properly attached. We are using our soldering pen, our hot air gun. We're cleaning a bit. In order to check and see what we are doing. And now I will explain to you what I did wrong. And what I did wrong is that I soldered the pad I have cut with using our razor upside down. So the pad was upside down, and the finger that I will highlight you right now, it is on the right side. And that is wrong, because the pad is connecting the vein, the 12 volts, with something that it is not 12 volts. And that burned the driver when I solder it and try to check if if the card is usable again. And did the work twice. The place of this finger, of this edge of the pad, should be there. There it should be this finger, and solder properly with the pad that belongs to the 12-volt rail. I didn't do that, and I paid for it. So let's proceed with the video. After we have soldered the pad, we must do something in order to retain this pad in place after we are going to solder the pad, because as you saw, we have solder below the pad and solder over the pad. And if we move the driver while heating up, the pad may be removed from its place and bridge something, and this something could not be very beautiful. So we must mask these gaps in order to make a more stable pad, because the UV mask is heat resistant, should retain this pad on its place. So we're going faster now. We're speeding up the video. We're trying to apply the UV mask whenever it is possible and cure it with UV light. After the cure, we will remove mechanically with our razor the UV mask that is on some pads in order to clean them. And after that, we will try to solder the driver on its place. Cleaning up a little, inspecting the area. We will add some heat on the pads to make them flat. Now it's the time to solder the driver. We're going to protect the capacitors over this driver in order to not to blow, because heat and the capacitor are not a good idea. We're adding some flux. We're going to apply heat. We're trying to align the driver. The driver should be pressed in place because the pad we have added, it's not like the factories. After protecting the capacitors, we will try to solder the driver on its place, trying continuously to align it correctly, not to bridge, not to short any neighbor pad. It's not a very easy job to do. When the solder is melting, the things are easier. We will clean a bit to see the alignment and to press down the driver. We're checking the capacitor for short. We have nothing. So we will try to power on the card. The card will power on and burn the MOSFET, the driver, because we have soldered the pad the wrong way. And now we have already replaced the driver and the pad because it was burned too. And we have resoldered a new one. You can see the mask around it. It wasn't likewise the before in the video. Now we have copied the circuit, the PCB circuit, and we have determined that we have a pad soldered incorrectly, and we have burned this driver. And now after solder the new one with the right pad this time, we will check with our oscilloscope if the driver works or not. After revealing our oscilloscope, we will try to power the card on. Okay, let's power it on. Yes, the coil is acting like the driver is okay. Let's see another coil. Seems to be okay. We will adjust the oscilloscope a bit in order to make the graph readable likewise. So we're going to check the second coil again, and it seems very good. It seems okay. So it's soldered properly and the pad is on the right place. Now the card is assembled. It is working. We have already Furmark stressing up this card. It is working about 14 minutes without any problems. You see the temp graph. It is very good. The card's performing very well. And we're very glad that we have restored this pad and this card, because it is a good card to throw away. So let's go to the finish. That was the repair as you saw. If you like this video, consider like, subscribe and share. Thanks for watching. See you in another repair. Bye.